that, and you're like, wait a minute, why would the Seahawks trade Richard Sherman? I had an NFL team that texted me, and they went, hey, this is actually something because they're not shooting it down. And what it was almost like a public lesson that they were trying to teach Richard Sherman. Like, you know what? You want to be volatile, you want to be a pain every single week, like, we love you, but we can ship you to Cleveland, okay? And it was some kind of wake-up call. I think that's what Seattle was doing. And that's what I still feel like this has to be with Porzingis because it doesn't make any sense. But I talked to teams last night that have all called, because everybody's calling. They're like, we're trying to just hope he says yes to something. And they're like, we don't have enough for Porzingis. So if you talk to teams that are talking to the Knicks about what they want for Kristaps, it's a team in that top 5, because that's really where this draft is. Those guys, I think, are graded pretty closely. Maybe even Isaac if you want to throw in 6. But then it has to be a young player, kind of on a rookie scale, that is a really good player. He's played 31 games in his career. So them, and they just traded for number 1. They've got the Fultz jerseys going. Like, that's not going to happen. Number 2, the Lakers, even if you love Brandon Ingram and you were the Knicks, you still don't know what he is yet. So that's not happening. On picks, you could probably find a match there if Phil Jackson really wants to do this. But it's not a pick this year in Jaylen Brown. Sorry, not good enough. Let me skip Phoenix, go to Sacramento in 5. If it's Sacramento in 5, they don't have a player. That's not going to work either. And that's why teams around the league feel like if Phil is really going to do this, that number 4 in Phoenix and Devin Booker would be something he would want to do. It's amazing that people are kind of split. Like, some people think that's too much for Porzingis. I don't think it's enough.
I think what you said is what it is. I think that Phil Jackson is kind of bringing him back under the umbrella.
Back to the first point.
Yeah, I do. I just said too much credit.
Like a public scolding.
Yeah, that kind of, everybody that you work for, regardless of how powerful you are as an employee, has an ego. And Phil Jackson's ego was offended. I personally think if you give him Devin Booker and you add Fox to that, that's a pretty good move for New York.
If that's draft, there's something about the way we fall in love with somebody hoping to be something we've never seen before. I just have a problem with, have I seen you do this at the NBA level, and have I never seen you do it? And, like, we all love De'Aaron Fox. He was great on the air. He's even better off the air. I know how much you like him, Greg. He's incredible. Maybe it works out. Like, sometimes I watch him and go, why isn't he not in the conversation with Ball or a Fultz? I think Porzingis in New York, 2 years into this thing, the fans love him. He gets New York. Forget the fans love him, because at the end of the day, that shouldn't be an influence in this decision. And let's forget. The New York thing is real, though. Like, can you do it? And the guy shows up day 1 and gets it done.
Yeah, okay. Here's my question. What is he? What exactly is he? Is he a super freakishly talented big man who we will see flashes from forever but will always be hurt? Because that's the reason that you trade him. If you look at him and you say, this is a guy who is always going to be hurt, I'm going to trade now and let that be someone else's problem.
I don't know why, like, all of a sudden, he's just better than Booker. I mean, he's so much better than Booker. Like, I would need more if I'm trading this. There's so many young players. You have control over this guy for like 7 years.
Yeah.
So what are you doing? And then I read this hit piece on outlining all the injury concerns. It's like, wait a minute, Phil Jackson just gave Noah $72 million and traded for Derrick Rose.
Right.
And now you're going to start worrying about Porzingis down the road? You know what? I'm not sure. Like, what if I go, okay, fine, we're still not 100% sure what Porzingis is. You still have control for 2 more years.
So one thing that I learned, I did one of their games, just one. I went down to Oklahoma City. We did Jeff Van Gundy, myself. We did the game. And I was shocked at how many NBA people dislike Porzingis. Tell you what they told me. I don't watch enough of Porzingis to know. And then I watched him play, and I thought, you know what? This whole team's a mess. It's a mess. It's a mess.
Okay, so you get doing, or maybe he's trading him today, and then just basically feeds a journalist this piece on draft morning to rip even the positives about Porzingis were negatives. Okay?
What about that?
The Phil Jackson part of it is indefensible. Right. No one is trying to do it. I'm trying to come up with, because longer than Phil Jackson is going to remain the president of the Knicks. So any upside to potentially doing this, and the upside would be if Porzingis is a guy who's going to have an injury-plagued career. Like, to me, Joel Embiid, it fits that mold exactly.
Yeah, right. Embiid scares me way more than...
Healthy Embiid is to me, is one of the 5 best players in the league.
No, than I do at my house. Right. Okay? and that's exactly what you're going to hear. If they end to be right, yeah, but you know what? Right now it works, and it works in a situation that is absolutely toxic. And you look at anyone that covers that team on the daily.
At some point, though, if you're 22 years old, as you said, just starting this thing, man, at least you have to respect the job and go visit the guy. I mean, it's an exit interview. It's part of the job. It's what you do. Now, the one thing I would say is it didn't seem to bother Phil when Derrick Rose bounced, when Derrick Rose was AWOL for
How do you go missing him during the season? Right.
And it didn't seem to bother Phil Jackson.
Doncic, I agree. Like, handle it better. I get that you're
Trade your best player to prove a point?
That's basically what Dan is saying.
And I thought what was interesting, the ones happen to a lot of guys, meaning missing an exit interview, but it doesn't happen to me. That's okay. I don't know. Maybe he's trying to start the whole thing. Too late. Right. That's it.
All right, I haven't gotten anywhere near all the stuff I need out of Ursillo here, who's got the Straight Talk brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, no contracts. Paul George, go.
Cavs want him bad. Cavs probably need to find a third team to facilitate love to get picks to Pritchard in Indiana and try to make this thing work. I know that Pritchard has no leverage with Paul George. I understand it. But, man, one of those rumors 2 days ago, the idea the Lakers now with their move could trade 27 and 28 and your pick of Julius Randle and Clarkson for Paul George. First of all, the Lakers don't want any of these guys from the previous regime. They don't want to re-sign any of them. Picks 27 and 28 are essentially garbage. No offense. I mean, I'm just telling you, like, those guys don't work out. We overrate these picks in the 20s so badly. We're like, oh, man, I grabbed a couple first-rounders. Look at the success chart on these players. They are flame-outs all the time. If I'm Pritchard and that's the best I have on the table, I don't care if I have no leverage. Seriously, Doctor, I would print up T-shirts going Pacers basketball. We're going to be bummed out all year long, but I'm not trading him for nothing, and I'll hope some other owner gets desperate around the trade deadline. Having said all those things, like I like Paul George a lot. I think he's more talented than Butler, but I listened to you this morning. Doc, I could not agree with you more about George. I think he's incredibly talented. The things I don't like about him, I still would take him every single day. That's the way this league works. But it's like that quarterback that loses every week that just starts the press conference going, "Good out, coach, good out played. Everybody needs to do better this week." It's so weird how he kind of thinks he's playing the role of the superstar, but he'd be so much better actually just being with a guy like LeBron going, "Man, you can take all the hits and I'll just hang out."
Or you'd be better off just, hey, look, playing as hard as you can play. Like that's the thing in Indiana. Like, you know what? You play a certain way, and then you come out and you say, hey, look, we didn't play hard tonight. Well, yeah, you didn't play hard. And then think about this. And I said this earlier. You need Lance Stevenson to energize you? Lance Stevenson?
That's such a great point. Yeah, because you're like, wait a minute, what?
So I went Linda Blair in The Exorcist. My head spun around. I'm like, what?
The Cavs situation right now, especially when you factor in all the LeBron stuff that we can get to a little bit later. But the Cavs, if you're Pritchard and you got nothing, you got garbage offered to you for the rest of the day, rather get that than nothing. And the Cavs look at it as, so I'm trading out, I'm not supposed to trade for George because he's up in a year. Well, I'm really only trading out 2 years of certainty with Kevin Love, so I'm missing 1 extra year of certainty with Love for a guy like. And I think the Cavs feel like if they get George in there for a year, they have a good time, they play in the NBA Finals, everybody's a Nike guy, then they sit there and think, maybe we extend a year plus 1, something like that. And everybody stays in Cleveland for another year.
If we win a championship, maybe LeBron doesn't leave because it's kind of hard to walk out the door right after a parade. Mike and Mike, Ryan Russillo is here. We'll take a short break. We'll come back with the LeBron stuff, draft stuff, and much, much more. Jam-packed. Mike and Mike, a word now. Straight Talk Wireless. Athletes aren't the only ones who love to talk trash. Those big wireless companies love to brag about how great their deals are. Then they hit you with these mystery fees. Switch to Straight Talk Wireless. They have all the best phones without all the fees and data overages. A lot less. Unlimited plans start at $45 a month on America's largest, most dependable 4G LTE networks. It may vary. A month equals 30 days. Please refer always to the latest terms and conditions of service at